New moon in Scorpio on November 1st. Y'all ready for some powerhouse energy to happen this week? Holy smokes. I love this. I love it. It's shadowy, it's dark, it's deep, it's witchy, it's occult, it's taboo. It's hard to fucking get to. Let's be super honest about what this new moon is. It is hard to get to the actual depths of what's on offer in this one. I am going to give it my all to try and get us there in this conversation as best I can, right? It's a podcast episode. It's not like we're journeying into our underworld. It's not like we're taking a rewild your life journey into shadowlands to reclaim the gifts and the power within self. But that's what's on offer. That's what's on offer. So if there's anything that you're feeling around, let me do a deep journey within. Let me do a shamanic underworld journey. Let me do some fucking powerhouse shadow work. This is the moment in time to do it. Really and truly, this is the moment in time to do it. The interesting thing though, and please don't be offended by this at all. This is not like directed at you by any means. It's that we mostly miss this territory. We mostly miss it. It's called the unconscious for a reason. It's hidden, it's unconscious. And that's exactly what this new moon is. So if this new moon, you're kind of like, dude, I just can't even get there. I can't even like tap into what this means, or Sabrina, you're fucking losing me in this conversation. It's because it's happening in a deeper place that mostly the mind can't go to. It's happening in the deep unconscious territory where Pluto resides, Hades resides, Scorpio, right? The taboo, the occult, the hidden, the unseen, the secrets that you don't know about, the secrets about yourself that you don't know about, the hidden about yourself that you don't know about. That's the fruitful territory for this new moon, right? We can talk all we want about planting new seeds and fresh starts for a fucking new moon. Yeah, that's totally true. But you're going to want to plant seeds for this new moon in a deeper, darker realm than you normally reside in. That's the Scorpio, right? That's also Pluto opposing Mars. Mars wants to take action, but Mars wants to take action from a deeper, more primal, more instinctual, more occult, hidden, unconscious sort of a place. And that is actually the best place to be taking action from. Not the toxic shadow stuff that we're talking about, the deep truth within self that we're talking about. And it's hard to get to. Let's just face it. It's hard to get there. It's hard to get there. But these archetypal energies, right? All these things are archetypal. Hades is an archetypal energy, right? The sun, the moon, they're all different archetypal energies. All of these archetypal energies, they are pointing. They're literally like shining a light. They are pointing at, it's like the perfect delivered on a silver platter, right? The perfect divine design to help you see more. Now you've maybe been feeling this for a while, because I'll tell you what, it peaked in that last full moon. So you're like, Sabrina, I actually get what you're talking about because I've been in it. Truths have been being revealed. I've been seeing shadow stuff. Or I'm feeling crunchy as fuck. I'm triggered as fuck. Something's wrong, but I haven't gotten to the beast. The beast within. That's what you want to think about. The beast within. There's a beast within, but the beast within, right? Think of the story of Beauty and the Beast. That's Hades and Persephone, essentially. It's Hades and Persephone. So you want to think of Hades. Hades is so loud. Pluto's so incredibly loud, but he's the hardest archetypal energy, one of the hardest archetypal energies to put your finger on. Hard. He's Lord of the Underworld. He's king of the hidden. It's like near impossible, right? But just having this conversation starts to direct our consciousness into these deeper realms. And you might be thinking, this one's not for me, Sabrina. I love your full moon and new moon reports. I love your astrology. This one is not for me. That's fine. I totally get it. I very much appreciate that. Just know that we're still in the collective soup. And there's a really great opportunity. There's a really amazing opportunity. That's kind of why I'm coming in so passionate, right? And just like right off the bat, like, I don't know, maybe it feels like fire to the face or something, but like, I'm so passionate about this because there's such transformation on offer. Like genuine, authentic, sustainable transformation. Not just like feel good for a fucking day, but like create a life that you fucking love. I've been on this kick for a little while of what it actually takes to transform really deep patterns within self. What it takes to actually transform, like, ancestral patterns that are so deeply ingrained. What it actually takes to transform, like I'm 45, right? My 45-year-old self patterns around, I don't know, let's say sexuality, let's say relationship, because those are really loud. Those are two themes that are extraordinarily loud. If you want to think about themes like life areas where I'm saying plant new seeds in the deeper underworld, like that's where the fruitful territory is. Like don't stand on sacred ground on like the physical mundane level of life. You want to get to sacred ground that's in the deeper realms. You want to get into Hades territory. Hades territory is where it's at. I am telling you, it is where it's at. And again, if you have any ways of journeying into your own underworld, shamanic journeys, right? Vision quests into deeper, darker territory, shadow work, ways of working with shadow work, do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Do it this whole weekend, do it this whole week, do it all of next week. It's crazy, wild, beautiful. And the things that you are going to get into are things that you will not normally be able to access. Really and truly, because as within, so without. What's happening in the stars, doors are wide open. They're wide open in ourselves too. If you don't have a way to journey in, we open up our Dark Goddess retreats. The online retreats, 3 of them, we don't normally have them open. They are closed all year round. We open them on rare occasion when we're really feeling it. We also decided that because this is ReWilding's birthday month, October, and it's fucking Halloween, right? This new moon takes place the day after Halloween, right? So we decided to take 20 to 33% off of all of these Dark Goddess retreats. Kali, Lilith, Persephone. Dark Goddess territory is that underworld. It is the hidden. It is the occult. It takes you into the Scorpio territory. It takes you into this fruitful territory of Hades, right? Kali, Lilith, Persephone. If you want to work with Hades, do the Persephone. I just flipped you off. I did not mean to do that. Dude, that's so funny. To happen while in this conversation with Hades, right? If you want to journey directly with Hades, there's a 2-part addition to that Persephone retreat where you can journey with Persephone and Hades into the underworld. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more. How can I get us into this territory? How can I don't know, offer us like practices, reflective questions? Here's a really good thing is just let yourself go. Let yourself go in this conversation. See what happens. Open up your belly. Open up your hips, open up your root chakra, your second chakra, your third chakra. If there was a territory in the body that I would say, go do some work with, it would be those 3. That's usually where we hold on to like the most toxic shit. We hide the shadows. If you wanted to do like a somatic journey into your underworld, go work first, second chakra. Really and truly, if you wanted to just like put your hand on that area of the body and you wanted to just move, breathe, sound into that first and second chakra territory, and you want to go, what's here? What's here? This is a really powerful practice. What's here? What's here? What's here? Go into your tailbone. Oh, we hold a lot of shadow stuff in our tailbone. We hold a lot of shadow stuff in our anus. We hold a lot of shadow stuff in our sexual organs. Go into them. Just journey into them. Take your consciousness there. You just take your focus there. I'm going to put my hand over my yoni, right? My sexual center, my vagina. I'm going to put my hand over it. I'm just going to put my hand there. And I'm just going to go, if there was toxicity, this is Scorpio season, if there was toxicity that wanted to be released, if there was old toxins, old energy, that doesn't belong here anymore. They say, did you know that they say a woman's womb, a woman's sexual organs hold on to previous lovers for 7 years. You hold on to previous lovers' essences and energies for 7 years. Isn't that interesting? I don't know whether that's true. I don't know the science behind it. I don't know how they studied that or tested that. I know that when I've journeyed into that territory, I found some real interesting stuff that definitely didn't belong there anymore. That definitely wasn't serving, right? But it's like our cells absorb things. So Scorpio season is a lot about purification, detoxing, moving out the stagnant, the death for the rebirth, right? You move out the stagnant to make room for the new. You want to just think of like the Ouroboros, right? That snake eating its own tail, right? It's just this constant, indefinite circle of renewal. That's Scorpio season. That's this new moon. Renewal, rejuvenation. You could literally do that practice. Some of you have that practice. If you did mystery school with me, in the past, you'll have that Ouroboros practice, and you can literally visualize that. You could do this here. You don't need to have me guide you into this territory, but you could tap into that sacred archetypal energy, right? That is a sacred archetypal energy. That is a powerhouse, that Ouroboros, right? And you can literally visualize that going around and around and around your root chakra, around and around and around your second chakra, around and around and around your third chakra. Powerful practice for this particular new moon. Mix that practice in with one of these dark goddess retreats. Mix that practice in with Persephone, or with Kali, or with Lilith, those 3 dark goddess retreats that we just opened the doors to and put on sale for a couple days. They're only open until November 2nd. So it's like super quick, short period of time, open and close, they're gone, done. But do that practice after every single one of those journeys. There's like 5 to 7 journeys in each one of those. Do that practice after every one, because it will bring through so much more light, so much more light. You'll shake everything up. You'll open up different things, journey into different places that you never would have gone into. Like, we're not leading ourselves into our own shadow. Let's be real about this. It is a very, very hard and takes a lot of skill and a lot of tools and a lot of years and a lot of experience. I just hit some enormous fucking shadow territory. Now, I've been facilitating shadow work for myself for 2 decades. I've also been holding it for a decade for other people. I hit some shadow territory. There was no way I was going to be able to get to the guts of it without outside, external, someone holding that torch, guiding the way, shining the light. Couldn't do it. There was no way I was going to see it. I couldn't. All I felt was that something is off. I'm in something. So if you're feeling like, I'm in something, know your markers. What are your markers for? I'm in something. Something's triggering me. Something's challenging me. I'm a little bit crunchy. Something's off here, but I don't know what it is. It's probably a really great time to do some shadow work. It's probably a really great time to get some guidance into some of that shadow territory. And it doesn't have to be ReWilding. It doesn't have to be Kali, Persephone, or Lilith retreats, right? It does not have to be those at all. It can be in whatever way you're called, and whoever it is that you're called to work with to help you journey into that deeper, more hidden territory. It's hidden, it's unconscious, it's hidden from you. So it's helpful to have someone point to the thing that's hidden from you so that it can become unhidden from you. All right. Wow, I'm really going off on this. I am so crazy passionate about this particular new moon. All right. Let's talk a little bit more about the specific aspects. So I think we talked about new moon enough, new beginnings, new chapters in the sign of Scorpio, right? Which is just really interesting because it's that continuation of the birth-death cycle. It's that, how can I like make this really tangible for you? How can I make it tangible? Plant seeds in the underworld, get into the underworld, excavate the underworld. Sometimes the greatest seed that you can plant is puking out the old. Sometimes like the planting of the seed is the actual letting go of the old pattern. Letting go of the old pattern instantly, simultaneously creates a new pattern. There was this fun thing that I was sharing, talking about like that moment in time when something dies and something is born. Like something comes to an end, but in the moment that something comes to an end, something new is automatically, innately reborn. And I was talking about the moment when a woman births a child, you know, or your father and your child is being birthed. That moment, you are no longer, you will never again not be a father. You will never again not be a mother. So that moment, like that moment in time, something new is born, but something old died. Do you feel that? That's Scorpio season. That's like this moment in time. And so we always focus on new. Let me plant fucking seeds. But what if it's more to focus on the death? That's what Scorpio is pointing at. That's what this new moon is pointing at. It's more to focus on the death because the death of something automatically, innately leads to new seeds being planted. The death of some crappy old pattern in you automatically opens up something new in you. The death, right? The death of an old belief system that held you back automatically opens up a new dream in you. Do you feel that? Do you feel that? Yeah, that's what's going on for this new moon. That's what this new moon, new seeds, new chapter, new beginning, that's the juice, that's the magic. It's in the actual death of something because it automatically creates something new. Also, you could reverse that and go, if I create something new, there's an automatic death of something. I create something new, there's an automatic death of something. Like I create a baby, there's an automatic death of me never not being a parent, right? There's an automatic death of me in my like solo non-mom life. That's death to that part of self in the instant birth of something new. That point right there, that point, you could deeply meditate on that point. That point is like a 0 point. That point's got a lot of juice. That point right there. All right, I won't dive into that. That would take us all day to kind of journey into those practices. So I think we talked about Scorpio. We talked about the new moon enough now. Here's what's adding into this Scorpio energy. let's take Scorpio energy out of this like deeply esoteric way of talking about it. And let's talk about it like more mundane levels. Scorpio energy, you'll probably have heard a lot of astrologers talk, that has a lot to do with power. Power dynamics, power plays, power over, power under, power with, right? What's your relationship to power? How empowered do you feel? Do you give your power away? Do you take others' power away from them? The disempowering thing to feel empowered. So some of this power play stuff can be being cleaned up. Also in Scorpio season can be money. Money can be anything that we give power to. So the reason we say money a lot in Scorpio is because pretty much the collective gives a lot of power to money. Gives a lot of power to sex, a lot of power, right? Where do we give a lot of power to? The taboo things. The taboo things. There's a lot of power that gets innately added into things when we don't talk about them. They suddenly grow, feel this, they suddenly grow an enormous amount of like more power when we don't talk about them. So think about the things that you don't talk about in your family system. Think about the things that you don't talk about with your friends. What are the things that you don't talk about, and how much more power are they gaining that they maybe don't need to be having? What are you giving power to? Maybe you're giving power to that, let me feel. You don't want to talk about the fact that you're just really unhappy in your marriage, right? You don't want to talk about the fact that, I don't want to go into a lot of examples here because then I feel like I'll pigeonhole us, and I want this to be such an experiential journey for you and open the doors to something new for you. But what is it that you're giving power to? Like I was in this like shadow thing that I was just talking about for myself that I fucking could not get to, couldn't see without someone else pointing toward this for me. It was that I was giving an enormous amount of power to something that I just didn't want to talk about. I was scared to talk about it. I was scared to bring it up. And because I wasn't talking about it, this was in my relationship, because I wasn't talking about it, it was creating more pain, more fear. It was like gaining momentum. It was like a snowball, right? And a snowball rolling down a hill. It's gaining more and more weight, more and more speed, more and more. So now it's like becoming a fucking avalanche. When it was just a little mini snowball, and I could have just like thrown the thing right at his face and been like, hey babe, I want to talk about this, instead of like an avalanche taking us out. That's something to reflect on. That is something to reflect on. What is it that you're hiding? You don't want to talk about, you don't want to admit to yourself, but it's gaining momentum and it's gaining power. That's what happens. That's what this territory points to. Okay. So that's a little bit more on the power dynamics around Scorpio season and a little more of the energetics around it. What else do I want to talk about here? I think more will come out because we're talking about now Pluto and Mars. Pluto and Mars are in an opposition for this new moon. I mean, come on, this is too good, right? They're the two archetypal energies associated with Scorpio. Mars was the original ruler of Scorpio. Pluto is the new ruler of Scorpio. This is just too good. This is so much Scorpio energy. It's why I'm really, really smashing us on Scorpio energy in this new moon and saying like, this is just intensified because they're opposite each other. So they're opposing. You think opposing, they're fighting. They're fighting each other. Now, what happens when Mars and Scorpio fight each other? So we have Mars, who's very grounded, very much in the physical world. This is beautiful. This is like that 1 foot on both sides of the veil. 1 foot in this world, 1 foot in the spiritual world. 1 foot in, the this mundane daily life world. 1 foot in the underground, Hades territory, your underworld. You want 1 foot in both. That's one of the greatest things that you can do for this new moon, is have 1 foot in both. 1 foot in the seen, 1 foot in the unseen. 1 foot in the seen, 1 foot in the unseen. Practice that. That's a really, like, just go for a walk out in nature and just like walk 1 foot in the seen, 1 foot in the unseen, 1 foot in the seen, 1 foot in the unseen. How do I find a balance between the two? How do I find harmony between the two? How do I let these two talk to each other? Because that's essentially what Mars and Pluto are doing. Pluto's in the unseen. Mars is in the seen. Mars wants to take action to change your life, to change your relationship, to take like physical, tangible action to move the fucking needle in your life, right? Pluto's completely in the unseen, but he's feeding Mars. He's feeding Mars. So yeah, they're duking it out, but what they're duking it out for is so that they can come into a bit of harmony, so that they can get the energies flowing. Mars can be in the unseen. Sorry, Pluto can be in the unseen, Mars can be in the seen. Pluto can be pulling up. Here's what you deeply desire, shithead. Here's what you're not admitting to. Here's the deep change and transformation that you actually need for a soul evolution, for your soul's greatest expression in life. Pluto's a soul point. Mars is an ego point. Isn't that interesting? Pluto's a soul point. You want to look at soul purpose and soul point and what you're here to do as a soul? That's Pluto. You want to look at how you actually go about doing it, the personality you need for it, the skills you need to develop for it. That's ego. That's Mars. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? Under a Scorpio moon. So the Scorpio moon is giving the unseen more juice. Mars is going to have to fight. We're going to have to put some focus on taking action. Here's what I like about this is that the new moon is in a trine to Saturn. Saturn is reality. Saturn is also standing in the scene. So we've got Mars in the scene, right? Ego, personality, self, take action, right? Like is here. I can actually make the phone call. I can actually sign the paperwork. I can actually have the conversation to make the change. That's where Saturn sits as well. Saturn's a great bridge between the seen and the unseen. Saturn's like the masterful manifester. So Saturn being in a trine, that's a positive aspect to this new moon. So Saturn's supporting reality check. Saturn's supporting the unseen coming into the scene. The deep truths, the deep desires. Think desires. Scorpio's about desires. Pluto's about desires. But your desires, your deep desires, your taboo desires, your naughty desires, right? Feel into those. That's Pluto. That's Scorpio. Your naughty desires, that's actually your soul's desire to express itself in this life. It actually is part of what leads you to following your bliss, to creating the greatest life that you possibly can, is actually admitting to what the fuck you want. And most of us can't admit to what the fuck we want. People ask you, what do you want? What do you need? What's going to make you happy? What's going to make you smile? I'm a little nervous around that. That's the territory you want to go into. And figure out how to get into that territory. Maybe it's a journey with the dark goddesses. So Kali, I'll talk about these because they are also, Lilith is conjunct Venus, is conjunct Kali, is conjunct Pallas Athena. That's wild. This is a lot of deep sacred feminine. A lot of deep sacred feminine. So we'll shift gears and I'll talk about what these different deep sacred feminine archetypal aspects are bringing up for us. I will do that, but I don't want to do that yet. I want to keep talking a little more about this Saturn trine and bringing it into reality, making it manifest. So it's so funny because now I just lost my thread, my train of thought. Yeah, here's what it is. It's like doing whatever we need to do to get into the places of this is what my sexual self craves. This is what my naughty self craves. And it doesn't have to be naughty sexual. This is what the part of me that the world judges craves. This is, I long for whatever you think, whatever it is that you're judging. Pluto's about no judgment. Like what? Why would you judge that? Why would you judge what you deeply crave? Why would you judge what you deeply desire? Why? What's the point? You're actually just denying your power. You're actually just denying your truth. You're actually just denying your gifts to the world. You're denying your soul's journey. Isn't this wild? So what is it that you are really, really longing for? And here's the interesting thing too, is that sometimes we'll be really, really longing for or craving, or it will show up from the underworld and this unconscious territory as like a symbol, right? Like a symbol of something. Don't take it literal. Don't take it literal. Sometimes it is very literal, like a dream bubbles up and you're like, oh my God, that just totally turned me on. That made me so hot. Oh my God, please don't tell me that I'm a sacred prostitute. I hear a lot of women say that. That's why I say that one, right? Like when we start to work with these deeper feminine archetypal energies, they can oftentimes bring up an enormous amount of sexual energy, an enormous amount of juice, an enormous amount of just aliveness. And sometimes it's like, oh my God, I think I'm a sacred prostitute. Like, holy, but it's not the literal expression of that. And so there's this taking time, really feeling into Saturn, letting Mars do his thing, right? Those parts of self that really walk in the physical world, in the world of the seen, and going, how does this manifest, right? How do I ground this? How do I bring this to ground? How do I manifest this, create this, so that that fulfills this desire in myself? So that's something to contemplate and think about and lean into them for. Okay, I do want to shift gears and I want to talk about the dark ladies for a minute. Let Let me feel. Let's go in through the doorway of Venus, because Venus is a very easy, beautiful aspect for most of us to tap into within ourselves, where some of the parts of self are harder to access. The dark goddesses, they're tougher. Not for all of us, but they're tougher to access. But Venus is the aspect of us that loves love. Venus is the aspect that wants to go to the spa, have a girls' day, watch a romance movie, wants to just develop love, is in like devotion to the flow of love, like the flow of love, the flow of connection. You want connection to be flowing. You want love to be flowing. You want like goodness, feel goodness to be flowing. That's that aspect of the feminine. That's a way of talking about that aspect of the feminine. Venus also brings about more surface level desires, more surface level cravings. She typically doesn't go super, super, super deep. She doesn't go into the taboo. She doesn't go into your hidden territories, but she'll go like, wow, I'm really craving some chocolate. Now here's the interesting part. She's going to Lilith. Lilith will take her into what she's deeply craving. Lilith will take Venus deeper into herself. Right? Combine, it's like a Venusian Lilith. Lilith is the wild woman. Lilith is the seductress. Lilith is, I'm going to show you, Venus, what you're deeply craving that you don't want to admit to. I'm going to show you, right? And let these things be, here's the trick to this, let these things be soul-aligned, heart-aligned, Pluto, evolutionary, right? Evolution of your soul's greatest expression in life. Let these deeper, darker places, this is where we get fucked up with the dark goddess. This is where we go wrong. We just do it just to be like, blow off some steam, you know? We just do it to like go get drunk and be wild and like whatever for a minute. That's not what they're for. That's not even the deep sacred feminine. That's not the dark goddess. That ain't Lilith. Like Lilith isn't just your excuse to like go fuck 100 people after you get a divorce and like go off the rails. She's not your excuse for that. None of the dark goddesses are your excuse for that at all. That's like opening the lid. That's opening the lid. The enormous amount of love that's there. The enormous amount of feminine magic that's there. Feel into that. Lilith. Feminine love, feminine magic. Feminine love, feminine magic. Loving the unlovable in yourself, in your babies, in your person. Loving the unlovable. I can bring love to this, and she's an extraordinary alchemist. Extraordinary alchemist because she can love that which we feel shame around, that which we want to deny, oppress, repress, not just in ourselves, but everywhere in the whole of the world. Isn't that beautiful? The wildest, witchiest, most taboo, most judged, most devalued aspects of the feminine. She goes, why? Why would you judge your own beauty? Why would you judge someone else's beauty? Why? Where? No. This is a sacred aspect. This is an aspect of the sacred. It's just been demonized. That's what she does. She shows you all the aspects of the sacred that we've demonized, that we've decided is not divine. Beauty, not divine. Women's sexuality, not divine. Men's sexuality, not divine. People's sexuality, not divine. Right? She goes, no. Here's your judgments around that. Here's the false around that. Here's the absorbed conditioning you got from that. Here's the past life experiences that make you believe that that's not divine. But your deepest, darkest is divine. It is all sacred. That's what these dark goddesses show us, is that it's all divine and it's all sacred. It's your human judgments that made it not sacred. Let me say that one more time. It's your human judgments that made it not sacred. It's your human judgments that made it toxic. But it in its raw form, sexuality in its raw form, is sacred. It's divine. It creates life. But it's what we put on top of it that distorted it. And she wants to heal the distortions. That's Lilith. Isn't that beautiful? So Venus conjoins Lilith. That's alive and well. That Lilith journey, that Lilith online retreat, it's open until November 2nd. So in case you're like, whoa, that's singing to me. I really want to journey into that territory for myself. It's for yourself. It's what it is that got distorted, twisted in you, the values in you, and what it is that you're ready to reclaim as the sacred feminine, right? A lot of healing goes on in that particular workshop. Okay, so that's Lilith. Now let's talk about Kali. So Venus then touches into Pallas Athena. That's warrior. So it's like you get this feminine warrior. So there's this wisdom aspect that comes. There's strategy that comes to it. I love that. I love that for the feminine heart. For the feminine, there's a wisdom. So you can think like Venus, wisdom, opens up wisdom. So Lilith is going to open up deeper aspects. Everything I just spoke about there. Pallas Athena, Venus is going to touch into her. That's going to open up the wisdom aspects in us. Like wise, let's be wise about this. Strategist about this. And also just warrior. I've got some fight in me. I've got some fight for my own feminine. I've got some fight for my own love. I've got some fight for my own flow. I've got some fight for my own truth. Then Venus is going to conjoin Kali. Kali. Let's talk about Kali for a minute. So Kali, ego slayer. Is typically a way people describe Kali. Now, she is let me feel, man, oh man, this doorway into Kali is always so interesting to me. Let me feel for this moment in time. She's such a multifaceted archetypal energy and divine feminine, deep sacred feminine aspect that I just never really know what face of it to go toward. Okay, this is the one I'm feeling in this moment, given all of the other energies that are open up at this time. It's like Kali in her blue form. So Kali can take on many different colors, but Kali in her blue, like blue Kali. And you just can feel into that. Maybe you look up an image of Kali. Maybe you go look at the Kali retreat sales page. There's an image there. But you feel into the sacred, the high voltage sacred of the deep sacred feminine, right? It's like high level. It's let me feel for a minute. There's nowhere that this energy can't go. There's nowhere that this grace can't go. There's no thing in you that cannot be healed. There's no thing that's too toxic. There's no too emotional, too ancestral. There's no too muchness for Kali. That was hilarious. So we're talking about Kali and my camera just shuts off and I get this notification that says internal temp too high. Never seen that on my camera before. So I think that's good. I think we're going to leave the Kali conversation there, right? Venus conjoins Kali. There's no place that Kali can't go. There's no place she can't bring the sacred fire. Like feel that sacred fire. There's no place that she can't transform, no place too deep, too dark, too unhealed to be able to go to, right? Be careful though. Your internal heat might really go up when you do that Kali workshop. Again, you can find more details for the Kali workshop, the Lilith workshop, and the Persephone workshop. They're only open until November 2nd though. All right. Let me see if I can wrap this up a little bit. So interestingly enough, I want to just pull up the chart super quick. Kali, Pallas Athena, Venus, and Lilith, this little dance that I've been talking about, those four, like they're all conjunct. They're opposing Jupiter. That's grace. It's grace. Jupiter's expansive. It brings more juice to it. He's illuminating them even more. I love this moment in time. I love that Jupiter's there bringing even more grace to the deep sacred feminine. Even more grace to that. So anything around reclamation of the feminine could be really good. Anything around expanding your gnosis like embodied, that's deep sacred feminine, is very embodied. Your gnosis around what's possible, like womb wisdom, heart wisdom, deep sacred feminine mysteries, anything around that, doors are wide open because of where Jupiter's at with that. Now, interestingly, I want to weave this in too, is that those four, right? Kali, Lilith, Pallas Athena, and Venus, those four, they are in a square to, sorry if there's wind, I just have the door open so that my camera doesn't shut down again. They're in a square to Parvati. That's relationship. That's sacred union. That's the wisdom within all of us that knows the dance of consciousness and life force, knows the dance of awareness, focus, the dance of awareness and focus with the dance of aliveness, the dance of the divine masculine with the dance of the divine feminine, right? And those mysteries that get revealed within self. So that, I love that's going on too. This astrology it's mystical, it's powerful. I think the biggest word here is power. right? Power. Power is such a good word. And a question to maybe ask ourselves under this new moon is, what are the steps, actions I need to take in the unseen? So in your spiritual world, your meditative world, what are the actions you need to take in the unseen? Just own it. Own it. The unseen realms to come to your next most empowered self. What are the actions I need to take in my seen realms, tangible physical reality, what conversations, what decisions need to be made, tangible physical, right? To come into my next most empowered self. Because the Scorpio new moon is all about you coming into the next iteration. Remember, it's that renewal, rejuvenation, the next iteration, the death for the rebirth. It's the rebirth of a new, more empowered, but empowered from deep instinctual self, empowered from more of your deep desires, more of your raw, honest, radical fucking truth, and not caring what the world thinks about it. That's the doorway in. Those dark goddesses will super help you to get there. Would love to see you in those retreats. Also, if you haven't seen, we're going on tour in 2025. We're in Berlin, we're in London, and we're in Sydney. And right now there's an early bird. It's also our birthday special going on where you save $500 on tour. I'd love to rewild with you in person. These Rewild Your Life events, they're the thing that I am the most excited for right now. They're the thing I'm the most, of course I'm excited for you to go into a dark goddess journey. Like, come on, that's amazing. But when I feel into my, my path forward, what is it that I can really give out into the world? What is it that I'm really excited for? Like that follow your bliss. Those tours are the one that I feel the most excited for. They're weekend immersions. So they're kind of priced at a point where you can make it, right? It's not like, oh my gosh, this is a $6,000 training with Sabrina. It's not at all anywhere near that. I think right now they're all under $1,000 to get there. I know that that's still a high price point. If that's like, wow, that's like not doable for me, Sabrina, that's okay. Like in-persons are not for everybody. Go check out those online retreats, right? Go check out those online retreats that we have on special right now. 20 to 33% off Kali, Lilith, Persephone. If there's one that I would pick out to do, now I can't say that there's one. They're so loud in the astrology at the moment. And Hades is Pluto's really making Persephone loud in the astrology. Plus, I think I spoke about this, but she's in a square to Neptune. So that's bringing in the mystic right into Persephone. I love that aspect. Just really opening up more of the mystic that's involved with Persephone. And of course, she's an incredible mystic. She's queen of the underworld. I mean, there's a ton of mysticism in there. So I love that. Okay, enough from me on this new moon. Just happy new moon, happy Scorpio underworld deep dive journeying, happy shadow work journeying, however we can support you. If there is a way, maybe come hang out in the Facebook group, dive into one of those online workshops, maybe sign up for a tour. Like, all right, this is my new moon, this is my new seed planting. I'm committing to going on a weekend immersion in Berlin next year. I'm committed to going to the Sydney weekend immersion. Whatever it is, but asking yourself those two questions, right? Whatever the answers are for those two questions, how do I support my most empowered self in the unseen, my spiritual world? And then how do I support my most empowered self in the seen, my physical world? All right, massive love to you all. Would love to see you in the comments. I'm always there the first 2 days after a video goes out. So if you're seeing this right around the time this comes out, I would love to see you there. All right, huge love to you all. See you soon.